Hey, my loves. Welcome back to our channel. I'm your girl, Zar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph. And we're back and we're talking all things Love is Blind. Almost forgot what we were talking about. We're on I don't know what episodes because they keep dropping them piece by piece.
We on the second to the last. So it's two episodes left. It's going to be the marriage day and then the reunion. So that's it.
Oh, all that's left?
That's all that's left. Wedding day and reunion.
Okay. Jeremy and Laura basically are done.
They done. I mean, he at the cookout riding off with another woman at the same time that they had their little closing session conversation. So they super done.
I have so much. Let's talk about this cookout.
The cookout was messy to me. And this is the part of these experiments, these shows that I don't like. Mm-hmm. To me, relationship, just natural relationship comes with drama, period. To the point where you do not need to create it. You don't need to add fire. You don't need to add lighter fluid and yeast and all of these things to inflate it. There was no reason to invite Jessica. There was no reason to invite Sarah Ann. We didn't need this, right? If you're trying to cultivate these relationships and allow these people to pick who they want to spend the rest of their lives with, and then you want to help them move forward, you don't need to throw them in some Basketball Wives ass situation where they show up and the ex is there and now it's messy and now they having an argument with the girl 5 feet away and then she walks up and then now they off sitting on the dock having conversations with each other, like to make it even more explosive. Like, to me, that's just unnecessary sloppy drama that just really didn't need to happen.
I hear you. I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it for so many reasons. To me, it kind of debunks quite a few of their relationships.
What you mean?
Like Jeremy and Laura. Like, I know that we want to be mad at Sarah Ann because she's not a girl's girl. But the truth of the matter is, y'all, Laura didn't seem like she was that great to be with.
Laura was a terrorist, but it doesn't absolve Sarah Ann of the wrongdoing that she has done.
Right. But it does make you feel like, I mean, am I mad if something happens to a terrorist? Not really. Like, I'm
not either, because I'm not mad at Laura being heartbroken. I think
Laura's not heartbroken, y'all.
I think
she's
Laura's
not.
just embarrassed.
And that's it.
That's all it is.
And that's all.
But my point is, I don't care about Laura being heartbroken or embarrassed or whatever. I just don't think that Love is Blind needs to turn into love in hip hop. I don't think it. But I do
think it's something to this aspect where you have all these connections, or at least have these like big connections at the end. Something in you would want to know. I think I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea that they come together, they have this moment, and then you get to see your prospects. Because then it almost challenges the idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because if Love is Blind, if you see me, we really shouldn't even have no talk for real. Like, it should be like, oh, okay. Peace, God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all it should be.
But that's what I mean by the drama creates itself. Like, Jeremy snuck off to see Sarah Ann, and he didn't need Netflix to set up a scenario where him and Sarah Ann was going to meet. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, that's for damn sure, because he already met with her.
That's what I'm saying. He snuck off to meet him, on his own. Didn't need help doing that. So the drama is going to create itself.
But
I don't like, and y'all know.
I mean, it happened,
y'all know
so we got to talk about it.
Y'all know this from, no, obviously. But I'm saying I don't like when the shows do it. Y'all know this from me, from watching us talk about Married at First Sight. Like, I don't like the overproduced drama.
Yeah.
Because that, again, Jeremy did that on his own. Y'all didn't need to set up a meeting.
He already did it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they already sneaking into each other's Sarah Ann sent Jeremy a DM. Y'all didn't need to set them up so that we can see them, so that we can see some champagne.
But how did they? The other question is, how y'all even getting each other's DM, like Instagrams and shit?
They talking to each other somehow. I think they in these pods.
Or maybe you can't control that.
I think in these pods, I think they are exchanging information, and the ones who
would have to be.
I think the ones who are not are getting information from these producers or whatever. They looking these people up on Instagram and all of that stuff, and they just DMing them, and they having conversations that way. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to naturally do this BS. Some of these people are just going to naturally do it. Like Sarah Ann, it wasn't nothing that y'all had to do. We all seen the Sarah Ann types in the world. She was going to DM him and mess up whatever situation to the best of her ability. She was going to do it, and she didn't need help doing it.
But in talking about it, how did you feel about? I did think it was weird when Jimmy was off talking to Jessica and Chelsea was talking to Trevor. But did I think it was weird?
It was weird. It was weird. But this was also a shot that they wanted to happen, right? They wanted Jessica to go off with Jimmy and have these awkward conversations where Jessica flutters her eyes and asks her, what did she say? Some thirsty ass comment she asked him a question like, do you find me attractive? Or it was something like that where she was fishing and it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
I wish I might.
I mean,
if y'all knew how little I thought of the male gaze.
If y'all knew how many points it takes you down as a woman, as a pretty woman, to throw yourselves like that. Like she was just fishing like, well, tell me, do you miss me? She said something along the lines of like, do you miss me or do you find me attractive, whatever. And it just was like, this is a conversation that didn't need to be had.
At all.
You know what I mean?
I think he with who he's supposed to be with.
I ain't gonna lie. I do too. After seeing his mama.
I think he gonna love her.
I'm like, he is... he's not killing himself, Jessica.
His mom is a sweet woman. Her husband is madly in love with her.
He is. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a dig. It was like...
Yeah, I think he's with the person he's supposed to be with.
When you see where he comes from...
Yeah.
It makes sense.
But they were saying, I had went back and I had watched, I can't remember the name of this podcast, and I'm going to regret it because I actually enjoy it. But Jessica was on it, and they were talking about how Jimmy actually had a connection with most of the women. So it really is, for some people, love is really blind. Like behind, he could probably feel more confident in who he is when people aren't looking at him versus having to go out there and kind of fish and get it on his own kind of thing. It makes sense.
I didn't know that Jimmy was a country bumpkin. So this makes sense to me.
At all.
Once you meet the family, you're like, oh, okay.
Even though his family was so freaking sweet.
They were.
So sweet, but I do think we just jumped all the way over to Jimmy's family, but I do think that him and Chelsea makes so much more sense to me now.
Yes, it does.
And I felt, because at first I was like, I don't know about this, and now I'm like,
but Chelsea is also a terrorist, and I think that
Chelsea is insecure.
All the things. She's all the things. Manipulative, insecure. I mean,
and I think, first of all, yes, because I think that the problem is when you have grown up in a space where you have not, you may not be the most beautiful, the most this or whatever the case may be, or even have the best personality. You have to be manipulative. Like you have to do something, right, to garner attention, keep the attention, whatever the case may be. And I think in her way, it's been manipulative, and it's almost it's some of the cringiest shit I've seen in a real long time.
It's super cringy.
It's some of the cringiest stuff I've seen in a long time. Like, it's weird because I too have said things.
Of course, but she's been doing the BS since before that night where she had too much Jose Cuervo. She's been doing the BS long before then. That was just the cherry on top for him because he was done. He was done. But that was just a cherry on top for him. But she's been doing this thing. She constantly needs to be affirmed. She constantly needs to be told that you're into me. You ain't leaving, right? Imagine waking up next to somebody every day. They just want you to make sure that you tell them you ain't leaving.
A man. Imagine waking up to a man and asking him if he gonna leave you.
But then
I really do.
But then she begged. Do you remember? She begged. Please don't leave me. She got up and he was done. She got up, went, found him in the bathroom wherever he was. He was like, "Please do not leave me." Let
me say this, y'all. Because I'm not even saying this like, girl, no, I don't want to be that girl, right? Because I think we've all been there. I really do believe that all of us have had some iteration of bum ass bitchness that really, you know what I mean, reared its ugly head. And then one day we found ourselves and vowed never to do no shit like that again. I've done that one time.
The truth of the matter is, you cannot compare these things because she has known this man for how long?
I don't think that matters.
It matters.
Let me tell you something.
It matters a lot. It does. It matters a lot because you gotta, because I'm gonna tell you why it don't matter. It matters tremendously because it adds insult to injury when you don't even know this person.
I'll be injured. Let me tell and insulted because
but it's not you who's doing this. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It adds insult. It makes it worse on her part because imagine pleading on your knees after pushing somebody away in a very psychopathic way. And only knowing this person for like a couple of weeks. That's worse.
How do you feel?
That's worse.
How do you feel about Jimmy being friends with women? He's also indulged.
Jimmy to me, I can't even bring a culpability to the footstep of Jimmy because I've seen Chelsea act the ass so much
that you can't even blame.
I can't even go there with him because this the same woman who told him, I don't even like you going to the bar for an hour and coming home.
He said he went for at the most an hour and a half.
That's crazy. You have
that is crazy.
Once you get there, you don't have a leg to stand on. I can't side with you on anything. The man couldn't go. First of all, who going to the bar for an hour, having one drink and coming home? Who's trying to do that? I'm not doing that with my woman.
Yeah.
No, can we get an appetizer or something? We gotta come home after an hour.
Right.
That's crazy. And she was thoroughly disgusted by that.
Well, I don't want anybody who wants to go out and do anything without me. It really bothered me. It bothered me so deep.
She's clearly problematic.
But I also believe, like, I'm not saying that there isn't a space where you don't want to be around your spouse. Like, I want to be around Joe all the time. So I definitely get what she's saying. But
no, you don't get what she's saying. You've never been like, don't go out for an hour and then come home.
Let me tell you something. I'm not even like, I don't even mean to be funny. I'm really like a G on some shit. Like, I love my husband damn. Okay? I'm not even about, I ain't doing none of that for no man. Not none of it. You wanna know why? Because I've been there. I've been begging, doing all that stupid ass shit. I'll never do that. You'll never get it out of me ever again. But you
want healthy relationship.
And it's only gotta be that. But not even that, Joe. I'm gonna be honest. If I'm keeping it 100, right? If I'm keeping it 1,000, I'm at the place where I'm the prize. And I can say that. Like, I'm at the place where I am absolutely fine with being sick a little bit about it and moving I'm cool.
But what I'm saying is you're not going to be sick over your husband meeting up with a friend.
Oh, I would never.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we got to get to the heart of what this issue is. That's why this was so bad because you are.
Because I'm not like, I don't believe in that.
But you also cultivate a healthy environment in the household,
which is why I can't do none of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, which is why I can't.
That's what I'm saying. There's something wrong mentally here with Chelsea because if you are trying to cultivate a healthy environment, of course I miss my wife when she go out. She went on a spa day the other day with a couple girlfriends, all of which I knew. I would never, as much as I missed her.
Did you miss me?
1,000%. But as much as I missed her, I would never sour her time with her girlfriend. And the reason is because the want to hoard her is the selfish part of us, right?
Yeah. And we're both like that.
And 1,000%. But I would never want to sour her time. That's the unselfish part.
Yeah,
because I realized I would never want to sour her time by saying, why are you going out with them? You ain't got we can go to the spa. You was gone too long. She was going all day. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm just making the differentiate of he said he was gone for an hour and she agreed.
Yeah.
So I'm saying she was going all day. I would never, and that's because I don't want to create that environment in my household. I want my wife to have healthy relationships with other women.
Right.
Healthy relationships with her girlfriends. I want her girlfriends to like me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I want them to be able to come to the house and kick it and we all, like, that's what I'm saying. When you understand the bigger picture, you understand how toxic what you're doing is to your own relationship and to the environment. Because once you do that, it makes him not want to be in the crib even more. I can't even go grab a drink and come home against my own better judgment of who going to the bar for an hour and then coming home. I can't even do that.
But
it's
it was
toxic.
deeper. But I think what I'm speaking to, because I think you're absolutely right? Full stop. I think I'm speaking to something completely different. I'm speaking to her actual insecurity. Like, the root of it all is not that
it's her insecurity.
Right. I'm speaking to that. Like, girl, stand the up. You know what I mean? But the problem is that you insecure about it because you know you chose this person for wrong reasons.
Oh, yeah.
So now you in your feelings because he might see the other chick, he might do this with the other chick, whatever the case may be.
She already started these lies about Jessica, and he's like, I never said that about Jessica.
But that's what I'm getting at.
So now it's clear that Jessica is living rent free in your head only because she's fine. That's it.
And the truth is, Joe, none of this is about Jimmy.
None of it is about
All
Jimmy.
of it is about another bitch.
Yeah.
This imaginary person and that's what I'm speaking to. Like, that's not like, are you kidding me? First of all, he watching you sweat and then you gonna turn around and beg him to stay after you knew you was dead wrong?
After you knew you was dead wrong.
You was dead wrong for that. First of all, that shit is weird. It's weird. Like, you are an adult. Like, nobody's saying, like, there's not a person alive who person go out and they don't be feeling like, all right. You know what I mean? We all saw the Kevin Hart special or whatever the case may be. But it's like, I do feel like for you to turn around and then let him go out, come back, and then he probably had a wonderful time with his friends.
And then you soured it. Terrible. That's terrible.
As much as, the thing is, but also what that sounds like to me is like, you're not comfortable, and it's hard to be comfortable. Y'all just got to know each other, right? But you're not comfortable in your space as his spouse. And I think that when I say I've been there, that's what I'm speaking to. I've been in spaces where I may not have felt comfortable with Joe going out. I wouldn't say that, but I would be in my brain like, this don't make me feel good. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that was because we were not in the best place. Not even in the best place. We were in a new place.
But they was fine. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
but no, I think we were fine too. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it does not have to be contentious for you to feel that way.
Oh, no, not at all.
It could just be. That's what I'm saying, right? So I'm saying that a lot of this comes from you don't know your position in someone's life. And that makes you feel uncomfortable. But that's real.
And I think she always going to feel that way.
I'm saying the stand up is from that perspective. Yeah. Because you're always going to feel that way until you realize you are that, no matter where he at in the world, his dick go with him. It ain't nothing I could do, right? So I got to be cool with me. Like, I got to be cool with where I'm at because he going to take his shit with him when he got.
And to your point, Chelsea is so not cool with where she is that she ended up with Jimmy because she's not cool with where she is.
But that's my full circle point. This has nothing to do with Jimmy. This has everything to do with all the pretty women that has ever turned a head while she was talking to a man. Mm-hmm. That's really what this is about.
Because this was really a competition with Jessica.
And that's it, and that's all. And that's it, and that's all. Like, you know what I mean? And also in the podcast, Jessica talking about her and Chelsea was really close while they was in the pods and shit like that. Also fucking weird. Like, you want to tear her skin off and live in it?
That's
like,
weird.
It's given
that's admiration.
Single white female. I've seen it.
Yes.
And I've seen single black female.
Oh, single black female.
That's our movie.
Let me tell y'all. And we are ready for part 2.
We are ready for part 2.
Let me say, shout out Amber Riley.
Yes, K. Michelle. What's the other young lady that?
I don't even know her name.
I don't know, but listen, we love that movie, y'all. Shout out to Lifetime. Y'all did a big one with that. But in real life, I think that that's what this is about. And and that's what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to like the insecurity of it all. And like how that can kind of rear its ugly head. The difference is that hers is going to be perpetual because she did not do this for the right reasons.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So she almost deserved to feel that way if you ask me.
She is.
But he don't deserve to go through that. And I'm also at the point, and I know I'm on a tangent, on a diatribe. I'm also at the point where I'm really not here for the Jimmy slander.
I'm not either.
I'm almost there.
I'm going to tell you that Jimmy is really doing things that I didn't think was possible. When I see him kiss Chelsea, I say kudos to you. When I see Chelsea regurgitate her emotions and her insecurity on him,
If I hear that voice one more time,
all of that, and then he just okay. He come back and he. I mean, when I see her hurl these made up fictitious scenarios, you effed. I heard you F Jessica. He like, I've never even seen her at Past the Pods. She like, oh, okay.
But
Girl,
even
you just made that up.
But what I thought was weird was that was weird, right? But on top of that, Chelsea brought up the fact that he had slept with one of his friends, and he had told her that in confidence, and she had said that, and he was like,
yeah.
That wasn't something that wasn't yours to share.
Right.
You a weird ass bitch for that. And in truth, you nothing good is going to come to you, because that's that. When we talk about the real undercurrent of this is how women will turn on each other for meat on a bone. We talking about dick. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean that on some respectful stuff. Y'all will turn on each other for meat on a bone. You would out another woman and her whatever just to say some shit to him that really didn't even matter in the moment.
It did.
That's wack as shit to me.
And like you said, he came to you and probably knowing, like seeing how Jimmy has carried himself, he probably came to you in a situation of transparency. Like,
yes.
Listen, this is the situation. Whoop-de-whoop. And then you threw it in his face.
Yep.
And then you waited until the cameras was on to throw it in his face.
But that's manipulative as well.
Super manipulative.
And people really, that's a scary place to be too, because then you get to a point where you don't want to tell motherfuckers nothing.
Right.
And that's a hard...
Which is, I think, why he was like, I'm done. Which is, I think
he should have stayed done.
He should have stayed done.
But the truth is, his parents been together how many years?
And it's clear. I was just about to say, it comes back to his family. Like, when I see his mom and his dad, I'm like, oh, he ain't done. It makes sense.
But I don't think it's from a look space. I think it's
encompassing a myriad of things.
Right. And I think when you see married people together for a long time,
you get that shit happens.
You understand that shit happens. You say things you don't mean. That don't mean you can't be happy. That don't mean you can't apologize and move on. It doesn't mean those things. And I think that's what we're seeing with Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. You definitely. And I think Jimmy is one of those. I think Jimmy got fixed because
he got fixed.
He is one of those people who has the stomach for marriage.
Yeah.
He like, I'm going to see her act crazy another time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm going to have my moments. She going to have her moments. And then we going to talk. And then we going to go out to dinner afterwards. Like, and that's real life.
Yeah.
I just think that somebody else deserves that. that's all.
And I couldn't agree more. I don't think that Chelsea deserves that.
No.
I don't think Chelsea has the emotional capacity to be in a relationship like this. I don't think that she has the internal confidence to be in a relationship. I don't think she got the external confidence to be in a relationship like this. I think that she is so unbelievably manipulative. I'm so tired of the hunchback. I'm so exhausted by it. It is so disingenuous and fake. And nothing about her feels real to me.
At all.
Except for that chin. The chin is giving 4D.
Let me tell you, the chin is very real.
The chin is very real. And I don't care.
That's
and
why I got respect for Jimmy. That's why I got respect for him, because I'm like, I know, because he knows if Jimmy was the guy who you're trying to make him out to be, Chelsea.
And everybody
He's seen
else.
Jessica. Jessica made it very clear the door is very much still open for him.
You feel like she did?
Oh yeah, she's.
I don't feel like I feel like they both was kind of flirty.
No. I'm saying,
but he was kind of light with it.
I'm saying Jessica made it very clear after the pods, even knowing that Jimmy and Chelsea were together, that the door is very much still open. She said it in the conversation to Laura, right? That was the irony in their whole situation. That people were talking about online, where you got a problem with Sarah Ann, but you'll sit in front of another Sarah Ann and confirm her feelings, right?
Girl.
So to me, Jessica made it very clear that Jimmy can still come get this whenever he wants to. And then she showed up to the cookout and made it very clear, right? So that means to me, Jimmy is over and beyond bought in on Chelsea. He's already seen her. She already said, you can come get this. She already said, you're going to choke. You're going to need an EpiPen, blah, 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 blah. He didn't need the EpiPen. He saw you and then went back to his Jay Leno looking ass wife, right? So he's still, so that's the point of like, This man is committed to you above and beyond, and then you would take your funky ass to the cookout and smile up and flirt with this other funny looking bull. It's
Wreck-It
crazy.
Ralph?
It's crazy.
She had Wreck-It Ralph in there like, oh yeah, I be tapping on my bracelet sometimes. See, Wreck-It Ralph, you don't get the hell out of here. First of all, I like Trevor, so I'm saying that with love. Hi, Trevor. I really do like him, and I also think he dodged a bullet. And I'm actually very glad that he did not end up with. I'm glad he didn't end up with none of these hoes, to be honest. Even though they said he had a girlfriend before this, I don't care.
They said he had a girlfriend the whole time.
I don't care. That's none of my business. I'm talking about the character he presented.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Dodged a bullet.
That's what I'm talking about when I said in the other video when we was talking about Married at First Sight. Those of you who watch both, when I say it's too easy to get on these shows.
It's too easy.
So he had a girlfriend the whole time, and Jeremy had a whole family, and they on these shows. And I mean, we're talking about these people getting married. You playing with people's lives out here, y'all.
Literally.
I don't understand that part of it. People have died for less. You playing with people's lives. How he have a whole family come on here and then somebody in the comments discovers it?
Right.
How does this happen?
Right. That's a good point.
Where is the due diligence? Where is you guys doing your research and your homework on these people? I don't get it.
How did you feel? So I want to go back to Jimmy and Chelsea, though, because I think that was a good conversation. How did you feel? Do you think it's a problem that he is friends with women that he has indulged with?
I honestly,
and don't take it back to the whole. I mean, answer the question.
Because in context of the relationship, I think Jimmy should be able to do whatever the hell he wants.
I know. That's why I said that.
That's why I feel the way I feel, because I think if you asking me to tell you, I don't roll like that in my own relationship. I don't, and I wouldn't allow my wife to roll that way for sure. But I can't.
What that mean?
I can't. It means what it means. But I can't bring myself to hold Jimmy's feet to the fire for this when he's taking on so much water that he has become the Titanic because his wife is the sea. And she just wants to sink his ship. I can't do it. I can't bring him. I can't even, especially when the man is saying, I went out for an hour, made sure you was cool with it, went out for an hour, did it, came back, and you're spilling on me like I'm Jeremy. Like I went to Jessica's house and sat in the parking lot and talked for 3 hours and all that.
But
he ain't do all that.
Child, don't let me talk about that. Okay. I feel what you're saying, but I don't. My thing is this, and if I'm keeping it 100, I always assume people fuck anyway. So I'm really trying not to say the F-bomb, but I had too many drinks, y'all, so my mouth is a little loose. In real life, my assumption is always, because I've lived a life, like I already know what it is. Like, so for me, it's like, it's all a matter of respect. And I think that those young women respected her.
I think he respects her.
And I think those women respected her.
Yeah.
And I think that, she's just
insecure.
Wow. It's like there could be no women around because
it can't. It
I
doesn't
love
matter.
being around bitches. Anybody know? I might collect one. It's like for me, and don't come too close.
And it doesn't matter who he's around. This is a never-ending thing. This is going to be a never-ending thing for him. That's why I think he needs to be released of this, because this is never going to end. She's constantly going to have a problem with he could be around his female cousin, and I think she's going to be insecure about it.
Let's talk about love triangle that's Laura, Jeremy, and Sarah Ann. So AD has a conversation with Sarah Ann about, just like you knew that this man was engaged, and yet you still reached out to him. Like she was really getting her together. I have two thoughts about it. What do you think?
I thought that it was refreshing to see one of the only women and the first women on this show hold one of the homewreckers accountable. Shout out to the comment section, because people was bringing this up online during the show and post the show about how Laura could sit up in Jessica's face, not have any problem with none of the BS that she was spewing about Jimmy. Meanwhile, have an issue with Sarah Ann, who's doing the same thing. Jessica and Sarah Ann are essentially doing the same things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you to sit up there, it's just the hypocrisy of it, the lack of accountability of it. And I thought that it made me respect AD even more because she was just calling her on her BS. She was asking questions. She would answer. And then she would say, you don't think that's weird because he's engaged or whatever? Like, she was just asking sensible questions, holding her feet to the fire, and then just being real about the fact that, girl, you still wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't got to be beefing, but the reality of it is you're wrong. And I respect it coming from a place of a married man, right? Like, she's an engaged woman at this function, right? So she's thinking, I wouldn't want you to do that to my man. You know what I mean? So I can respect that. And I think it needed to happen because Sarah Ann is on that BS.
I think it needed to happen because Sarah Ann is on that BS. And I also feel like we got to stop caping for, I also feel that way deeply. I feel like that was Laura's place to do. Why Laura ain't go up there and talk to her? Not to say that AD did something wrong, because I don't believe that. What I'm saying is, I don't think it was even your conversation to have. Like, I don't think it was her conversation to have at all. Like, I think
it was triggering for her as a fiance in the building.
It's none of your business.
You know what I mean?
Because you could say
they
that.
Invited her there.
You could say that about anything. Like, oh, because you was cheated on. If I see your man out in the street and I say something to you, I did it because I was triggered. You're triggering, ain't got shit to do with me. I'm holding a whole nother gun. So it's like we not on the same thing here. For me, that's how I looked at it. But I'm a big proponent of... I think
as a wife, you being in a space with other wives would come from a similar place.
And I think I'm speaking from that space. That's why, so let me, cook a little bit. I don't think AD was wrong. So I'm going to say that first. I don't think her sentiments were wrong. I think that it was none of her business. But two things can be true. It could be none of her business and her sentiment, but I'm still not doing it. I'm gonna keep it as a married woman. I'm being grown, right?
We don't insert ourselves in other people's businesses. But I think if it was a situation where the girl was sitting in your face, spewing this BS, you're not one to hold your tongue the same way AD didn't. I could never see you sitting in front of some.
But the girl, AD went up to the girl. The girl didn't go up to her.
No. I'm not saying that you would have initiated the conversation. I'm saying if you're at that space where y'all are having a conversation as a wife and you have an affinity for the other wife, you know what I'm saying? And she's just one of the Jones around or whatever. You would never. There's no scenario where a home wrecker could sit up in your face and Sarah Ann was spilling a bunch of bullshit. So there's no way that entitlement bullshit too. Like a lot of entitlement bullshit. There's no way that as a wife, you will sit up here and she talking about another wife that you know and might like and have an affinity for and say a bunch of bullshit and you not call her on the carpet for that. I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either. I don't see me engaging in that. Like, I feel like, and I'm not saying from a space of there's a lot going on here, right? One, we're not friends. You was never friends with Sarah Ann, right? So I don't even have to talk to you at all. So that's where I live in that world. Like, if you not, I'm just not going to speak to you at all. That's number one. Number two, I'm a real proponent of, I'm not a girl's girl when it comes to my relationship. When it's like staying out of other people's business is what I'm great at. Like, if that's what y'all got going on over there and something happened and he was doing something he wasn't supposed to do, because what I do understand, because I'm a woman who's been married twice, I've lived a full life and all that stuff, is that you could have did something too. I've been around married women for a very long time. I'm talking about like this is a long time. Two things can be true. He could be a dog mom, and you could have been a terrorist. So that's why I don't include myself, and it's not up to me to let people know what they look like and all that stuff like that. That's why I didn't really care. Like, everybody all like, yeah, I'm glad she got her together and everything like that. And I'm like, I am glad someone got her together. It doesn't fill me up as much because it wasn't Laura. The truth of the matter is AD had nothing to do with it. So her only inserting herself into it was like, you got to tend to your own garden. And that's what I'm talking about. When I'm in a world, like, you can't come to me and talk about, I don't care if you see my man out kissing the bitch in the mouth. You become the problem now. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care if you go to the bitch and say, girl, I was defending. You become the problem now. You don't have to do that. Like, for me, it's like, we need to learn how to operate from a space of, because I ain't going to say that I wouldn't be like, Laura, you need to go over there and talk to her. Because now I would probably say some shit like that. Girl, you need to go handle that. But it ain't for me to handle it for you. And that's being a girlfriend. And y'all can ask any of my friends who notoriously, and I think this is what you're speaking to, handle shit for my girlfriends. I ain't got no problem. Y'all need me to square up with somebody, any of that, I'm down. That's what you're speaking to.
Yeah.
But when it comes to affairs of the heart, I'm very understanding of the fact that everybody could have responsibility in the demise of something. The truth is, was Jeremy going to be a sneak ass dog anyway? Whether Laura was an angel or not, yes. But we got to see Laura as a terrorist. You know what I mean?
She is.
We got to see her that way. So I don't know. It doesn't, you don't get like you know, oh, well, you say you over there and you aired out this other terrorist for not, so he's not with this terrorist, so he could be with this terrorist, but you air her out, girl. Like, this joint is still a terrorist over there. Like, he might have had, in his mind, he's still a liar. He still ain't shit. He's still all those things to me. But I just didn't feel like, that's me being contrary. Like, I don't feel like that's none of your goddamn business.
I think it has less to do with Jeremy or Laura and more to do with Sarah Ann is sitting up here spilling this bullshit and somebody checked her on it. And it was refreshing to see. We just talked about, those of you who watched the Married at First Sight, it's not a lot of, it's a lack of accountability everywhere. When they talk to the experts or they talk to their friends, and I see that on this show too.
Yeah.
And Sarah Ann sat up here like she was the victim.
But like I said,
it was refreshing.
I do like that somebody checked her.
Because
it just would have felt more redemptive if it was Laura. That's what I'm saying.
Which I agree with, but that's why people was lighting a fire up under AD.
Because somebody had to say it.
Because everybody wanted to see somebody hold this chick in check.
But
it was refreshing
you don't think,
to see. It was like you be wanting to see somebody like, it's like when you watch, when we talk about the Married at First Sight, when we watch them in therapy and we be like, just say it, like say what you want, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then they say it and it's almost like somebody lifted the weight off
but
of you. It was refreshing to see somebody just be like, yo, it's refreshing to see somebody call somebody out on their bullshit because she was just going to spew that bullshit no matter who she was in front of. It didn't have to be AD.
That's because she believed it. But that's because the smoke was never for her. He's a grown man. If she sends the DM and he responds, it's a him issue.
It doesn't matter. It
matters.
It doesn't matter because nobody's absolving Jeremy of being a.
But she has no loyalty to anyone. Wrong. What I'm saying is, in truth, she don't got no loyalty to none of them hoes or near man on there. That's a single woman.
And it was still good to see her get checked.
And nobody's saying that it wasn't good. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, the person who should have put her big drawers on, she over there talking, you could kick rocks, you could do. Should have been Laura.
Two things could be true. I agree with that.
Because I do feel like AD, every word she said out her mouth was, I was sitting there like, yes, girl, get it together. But then after I thought about it, I was like, I don't know. AD better reserve that for whoever Clay planning on cheating on her with. That's what I'm thinking. It don't have
nothing to do with Clay or Jeremy or Laura. The reality of it is, it was just refreshing to see Sarah Ann get checked. Cause she was,
but my thing, we didn't need to talk to Sarah Ann at all. We get her off of here.
But that's what I meant when I say she didn't need to be invited, but she did. She was there. They invited her. I stand on it. I started this segment by saying she didn't need to be there. Neither did Jessica or none of the other Jones. But she was there.
She need to be there now because she a fiance.
They was gonna have a conversation. Regardless, somebody was going to end up talking. Sarah Ann was going to be on camera talking to somebody. Yeah. And she was going to end up spilling some BS like she was, you know.
Yeah, she wasn't the one who had the problem. I agree. So he just came over here and then it wasn't even nothing.
So somebody needed to check her and it was just rewarding to see it happen.
I just don't want black women getting into white women business. And I think that that's what it is for me. And I think that we got to learn to stop saving people. Like we have to. And she just was standing on what was right. That's okay.
Because also black women ain't about the BS. And so she just was, that was the innate thing in her.
The problem is though, that's one of our issues. We ain't about the BS when it come to everybody, but everybody don't feel that way about us. That's really one of our issues. And that's really what I'm speaking to. True. What I'm speaking to is you gotta let white women sink or swim. You gotta let them do that on their own. I think everything AD was upstanding. I thought that, you know what I mean? Like I thought it was good to see too. I just felt like it wasn't given what everybody thought it was because it wasn't her cross to bear. It was just like if you went out and met any home wrecker and start talking to her about how it felt that way to me. Like you insert any woman off the street. Now let's have a conversation about that's how it felt. Like it felt like this ain't got nothing to do with you. We really needed to see, the producer should have been on Laura's ass to turn it up. And I felt like AD was around when they was having a conversation and she said, oh, I'll do it. That's how it came off to me. So not disingenuous, but produced. That's how it felt. But she clocked in, and I appreciated it.
I respect it.
For me, let's get AD on the house.
I'm tired of seeing these Jones around here just say anything out their mouth and nobody checked them. So I'm glad.
But I don't think.
I'm tired.
I think that
nobody's checking none of these Jones.
Short-lived.
Nobody's checking none of them. Nobody's checking outside of Sarah Ann. Nobody's checking Laura or Jessica or any. Nobody checking them. So it's just good to see it happen. Because guess who ain't gonna do it? Nick Lachey and his wife. There's nobody on, like, at least on Married at First Sight. At least on Married at First Sight, we get a little bit of relief when somebody sits in front of a Pastor Kyle or Dr. P.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't get that on Love is Blind.
That's
so
true.
Nobody is checking these people. Sarah Ann was going to come here and play like she was the wife. And I can see how if you are the wife, or not the wife, but a wife, you are offended by her mere presence. Like, get out of here, you bird. Because that's really what she is. So it was just refreshing to see somebody check that joint on in real time, especially when there's no experts on this show. So no one's checking them.
So nobody else can say anything.
1,000%.
I just felt like I needed to see that smoke with Laura. That's what
Laura's
I felt like.
But Laura's a fraud.
That's what I'm saying.
Laura's never going to be a fraud.
That's all I was saying. Like, you know what I mean? Not that I feel like take everything AD said and let it go out of Whitefish Laura's mouth. That's all I was saying.
Because Laura never even went anywhere near her.
Right. But that's another thing, right? But that's what I mean. I would never do no shit like that.
Right.
I'm not going to insert myself in a situation you ain't inserting yourself in. Yeah. It'd be different if my girlfriend stepped up to somebody and then I'm just going to be there for... That's different.
Yeah,
you didn't even. That's what made it weird.
I think for most people, it was purely a selfish satisfaction of seeing somebody check.
It was,
Laura
and that's all it. And
that's all it was for me.
That's all it was.
I don't like the joint. You know what I mean? So that's all it was for me.
That's all it was. So let's talk about Clay meets AD's mom. First of all, I love AD's nickname. I don't know why, but I love when girls have ambiguous nicknames. So he meets her mom and also speaks to the mom about how his father's a cheater and he don't know how he gonna be faithful.
Is that what happened?
Yes. That's actually what happened. Like, it's actually what happened. And I like Clay, right? And I like AD. And I actually can see it for them. But as a mother, that would have been a red flag for me. Like, girl, I don't know about him.
I ain't gonna lie, the mom is... The mom was just talking to me. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what her relationship status is or what her experience is, but she was saying a bunch of nothing to me.
Well, she said she had never... Did she say she was divorced, y'all?
I don't remember.
I think she said she was divorced.
I don't remember, but she was saying a bunch of nothing to me. And I typically get a good sense from parentals or you know, caregivers if they know what they talking about. You know what I mean? They have a presence. They have a tone. They have a cadence that they speak with where you like, okay, they about to spit something. You know what I mean? She was not giving that to me. And then they just let her talk. It was like watching TLC. It was like they knew it was awkward, so they was like, keep rolling, like let her talk, because she just started saying a bunch of nothing. It was just words coming out. So I really didn't love this segment because it felt like it just went a lot longer than it needed to. But to me, I would have rather them. This is one of them situations where I would have rather some of these couples who I can kind of see it for talk to counselors and therapists and things like that, because I felt like her mom felt like I have to fill this empty space, so I'm gonna fill it with these words, and it's very clear that she was just trying to fill time. I
feel like her mom said something that was really on point, and she said the whole thing about like being faithful, like, or having a successful marriage. She was like, your parents were together 24 years. That's not nothing to frown at. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big deal. Like, and you're looking at it from a space where you could do something to hurt somebody, but the truth is you're not your parents. And I
think
said that
was the part that I did like. That was the one part I did like. This is the one part that I did like that she did say, because I think a lot of people do suffer with that, where they internalize things that they've experienced. Sorry, they internalize things that they've seen other people experience.
Yeah, I do it too.
And they feel like I'm gonna walk these footsteps because I saw somebody else do it. And I think it's important for people to constantly be inundated and hear, you are not your ex. You're not your this. Put a name in X
you're not
box.
whatever.
You're not whatever your uncle, your grandmama, your granddaddy, your mom, your dad.
Yeah. You're not even the person you was in the last relationship.
That part too. And I think that that's important because people think, you know, we was talking to somebody a while ago and they were just like, I don't think I want to get married. And we said, why? And they said, well, I haven't seen anybody who I know married be happy. And I'm like, so you haven't been married still. Like, we going back to, you've never experienced a bad marriage. You've seen somebody else experience a bad marriage and you allow that to dictate whether or not you're going to be married or not. That's the thing that we got to push back on.
But people be saying these things with no knowledge of nothing.
That's true.
Except for, I just saw this person in a bad marriage.
Exactly.
And what I think is a bad marriage, you have no knowledge of
anything.
Right.
Because by that logic,
actual ins and outs of anything, you have no knowledge.
Because by that logic, you should never leave your house. Well, I saw somebody get in a car accident.
That's
I've never been in a car accident, but I'll never get in a car again because my cousin Ray got in a car accident, and then his aunt got in a car accident, and then my mom was in a car accident. So now I don't get in cars. Right. That we would think that was idiotic when people say that.
Exactly.
But when people equate it to marriage, we go, I understand, sis.
But that's all of this is. If you ask me, this is the agenda to tear down black people wanting to get married. We have gotten to the point now where people will say, well, marriages don't even y'all would rather have a baby than be married, which is like
scary
beyond even a conversation. I know I cannot have a conversation with you if that's something that you will say. Oh, yeah. Because you practice in cognitive dissonance, and I'm so far past that. Like, my thing is like, what?
It's scary.
If you are of the belief that somebody can give you something to be committed to and not commit to you.
Ha! It's scary.
Like, hear that. They are not committed to you. All they did was give you something to be committed to.
Right.
But they're not committed to you. And they show you that by not giving you nothing after you had this baby.
Right.
But they'll get a baby a little something.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
And then you will talk and have these conversations with a person who wants to be married as if that commitment
is weird.
But you being committed to something that somebody gave you, you don't even know what this thing is, what it's going to become, whether or not it's going to like you or not, whether or not it's going to act like that motherfucker or not. You don't know none of that. And you're okay with that commitment, but not one with a person who commits to you.
It's weird. That's the space that we in.
It is so fascinating to me. I just be like quiet, like, because I read the comments. So I'm saying all that to say, I think that, and we've said this before, your commitment is yours.
Yeah.
And I think that people need to start talking to AD and Clay because they can be successful.
Yeah.
I really do believe that.
I think that too.
And they can be successful in whatever way they want it to look like. You know what I mean? And I think that Clay is nervous about things that he, first of all, can control. What's weird to me is that we're talking about things. I think what annoys me about the conversations that Clay has is that we're talking about things you can control.
Yes, but the thing of the matter is that you've arrived to that place because you've had the adequate conversations, emotional development, the maturity, therapy, counseling, all of these things to bring you to that point.
Yeah.
We aren't realizing that these people are thrown into these situations right off the deep end. Now you're married. They're not going through any counseling. They're not going through any conversation, anything. These are demons that a lot of people carry. It's just the reality of it. A lot of people is carrying the demons of their parents' relationship.
I think
this is not
I think
foreign.
That's natural. Like I think I don't.
It's
right.
very
I
natural.
don't think that's
nothing is foreign about it. But when we see somebody on TV, especially black people,
it becomes
this thing of Like this is only attributed to them. This is weird for
You
them.
want to know why it's annoying?
Not real.
Because these same people, it's annoying, and I want to go with you there, but these same people are very understanding of what the difference between them and their parents are. That's where we get the whole term generational wealth from, right? But they only think of it when it's commodification of capitalism, when they're, selling goods and services, when in truth, generational wealth is something that is such a broad. I hate that term. Joe knows that. I hate it.
I think it's overused.
It is so
just
overused.
Like genius.
It's so overused, and the reason why I hate it is because there are such small things you can do that will change the trajectory of your child and provide them with a greater understanding of their life. And it doesn't have to be anything that has of monetary value.
Right.
The monetary value is wonderful, right? But the truth of the matter is, Clay don't need help with the money. Clay has an internal compass issue, okay? And instead of him understanding that that's his issue, and I want to be able to pass a certain amount of wealth to my child, so I need to, you know what I mean? That's where I need to be. He was gonna make money regardless. He just was. Some people just got it on him and in him, right? Mm-hmm. That was never going to be his issue.
Right.
His internal compass has always been his issue.
Right.
And we know it's always been his issue because it's the only goddamn thing he talk about.
Right.
It could be nobody. Well, I'm worried about cheating.
1,000%.
If you could sit up in front of somebody's mother, and say some shit like that, imagine.
Right.
You a terrorist. He must be really out here doing his thing. And I mean that with all due respect, because he literally sat up in front of somebody's mother and said it.
He did, but I think that what I'm getting at is, the truth of the matter is, and we talk about this with you a lot, some people will pretend that they aren't thinking X, Y, and Z or dealing with this type of demon. And some people will just say that they're dealing with this, right? Mm-hmm. We getting a lot of spats and not spats, but debates with people because you will say something that you genuinely know is real and realistic in real life, and people will fraud like it's not when we know it is, right? Mm-hmm. We know there's a lot of people carrying the burdens of their parents' relationships. We know it's factual, right? Just a lot of y'all are covering it up. You're painting it over as something else. You're not addressing it. You're not talking about it. Mm-hmm. You're not working through it emotionally. So you're perpetually in these relationships that go to shit because you're not handling or addressing the issues that you have.
But I don't see him. I think what you're trying to say is like he's being vulnerable about these things,
and it's not foreign. It's not weird. It's not as weird as people are trying to make it.
I think that's true.
That's all I'm trying to say.
I think that's true, but some part of this to me feels like a warning and not vulnerability.
It could be. I'm not saying. I don't think that anybody knows truly at this point. I'm just saying that the only reason why I think that they have a chance to do something is because you can't handle an issue that no one agrees is an issue. You can't tackle a problem.
But Joe, we're not talking about the problem I have with this is that we talking about something as small as being committed to a person.
But
I think that's small.
On a face, I think because you have done the work.
Joe, the problem I'm having with this conversation is that we're talking about a grown 31-year-old man who signed himself
up. But it's not him.
For a show.
Take Clay out of it. Take Clay out of it.
I feel this way about most men.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that this ain't about Clay because, again, a lot of you are dealing with this demon. Whether you want to admit it or not, this is not foreign. This is not a Clay issue.
But I think it's stupid foreign. When they say it. The problem, what I'm trying to get at is that I think it's stupid. I have these conversations with men all the time.
That's my point. I'm like, hold on, just to stop there. That's my point. These are, and that's the place that I'm speaking from. I've heard this a lot, separate and apart from Clay.
But I don't understand what the point is. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I really don't understand what the point is.
I'm saying that these are not uncommon demons. These are demons that a lot of y'all just need to address. And my point is that you have done the work. And so a lot of the time when you hear people say this, you're talking from your higher self because you've already done these things and attacked these things. And you're in a different place.
I'm saying this from my low vibrational self. Like, in truth, like, it ain't beneath me to do no dog shit. So for me, it's like, it's not beneath
about
me.
The dog
so
shit,
for me, it's like, when I hear stuff like this, it don't sound like it's coming from it does not sound like it's coming from a space of,
you're not giving yourself enough credit.
This.
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
It don't sound like that to me.
I'm saying that you're not giving yourself enough credit, and you're a lot more evolved and emotionally mature and done a lot more work than a lot of people have done that we see on these shows, that we see in real life, and all of that stuff. And I'm saying that you're not giving yourself enough credit. When you're Michael Jordan, you laugh at a motherfucker who can't make a layup. That's because you're Michael Jordan.
But what I'm saying, though, Joe, is I really do feel where Clay is coming from, right? So I think what's annoying me is that, like, my daddy, since I've known, only up until now, if I'm being honest, I've never known my dad to even be with one woman at a time. And that's telling me I'm going to probably get cursed out for that. But only up until now with my stepmom. So I have the way I view relationships and everything like that is also very rigid. So I am speaking from that space as well, because I feel what he's saying, right? But I also understand that the decisions you make will dictate the life you'll lead, right? So it ain't nothing Angel could have done to stop me from cheating on a previous person. You understand what I'm saying? It ain't nothing that Angel did that made me cheat on a previous person. None of that. That's not. So for me, I don't even understand a goddamn conversation when we even throwing our parents under the bus. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I don't even get it. Like, because for me, it's almost like when we talk about absolving yourself, there are certain parts of being raised, right, that really does affect the human being that you become. And I even think the way that men value their wives and, people's mothers and mothers' fathers affects the relationships how you kind of view relationships moving forward, right? But I think it puts too much onus at 30 some odd years old on what you've seen before as to why you would have piss poor behavior. It almost sounds to me, I saw my daddy steal. I saw my daddy murder. So now that's what I'm going to do. And now everybody just got to be like, we get it. Like, no, guess what? Those people go to prison. It's wrong. You know what I mean? And you have to make the choice. That's why they don't go back and lock your parents up because at 31 years old, you made a bad decision based on some shit your daddy did in 86. They don't do that. Why? Because they understand that you're a fully developed human with a mind of your own. You obviously have the capabilities to be a forward-thinking person. You run several businesses. How are we now to believe that you are unable to do that when it comes to being committed to another person?
Because y'all have to do the work, and that's why. Because when you are dealing with these big demons, these things are not these. You have to do the work. I just had a conversation with one of our family members about this similar situation where they were dealing with demons that I didn't even know they was dealing with, and we talk frequently. You know this person, and it wasn't until they got in therapy and counseling where they were like, I didn't even realize I was dealing with this, that, and the third, and it came from this, that, and the third from childhood. And I'm like, damn.
And I do believe it comes from somewhere. I'm not saying that.
These things come from somewhere.
I'm saying that.
We've talked about this when you mentioned your dad. We've talked about this with your dad and why we think he did this and how we think this affected that and how it affected his son and how it affected all of these things go back to somewhere. And a lot of it is the root of it is fear. A lot of it just needs to be uncovered and worked on. And all I'm saying is you did it. You've been there. But we've seen this run amok in all facets of life, whether we are dealing with friends that we have now or friends that we have from yesteryears and all of these things. Like a lot of people deal with these demons. They are just not addressing them. And a lot of times it never gets addressed and it rears its ugly head in every relationship that they have. And they never know why or where it's coming from. It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I think it just makes me sad. It's not uncommon.
It is sad.
I think it just makes me
I agree that it's sad.
Sad because
But it doesn't mean.
I keep calling him AD, and I'm
but
sorry
it's not,
about the AD.
But it's not. It is sad, but it's not a final destination. Like, it's not the end all be all.
It's
you can
not,
make it
but
out
it's
of
a lot of women I know are. A lot of women I know, so let me make sure that's the sentence so y'all understand what I'm saying. A lot of women I know are meeting men who are like this.
Because it's common.
Who wants. So I think the issue I have is with how is it that women can experience the same thing and find a way to be, or maybe we show up differently in other ways, right?
I think it's just masked differently.
Maybe it's not cheating,
I think it's just
right?
masked differently.
Maybe it's something different.
Because when it's not handled, it's not handled.
That's
and I
true.
think that
That's
this is nothing is new under the sun.
That's
I
true.
think this is dealt with on both sides of the spectrum, whether it's men and women, Mars versus Venus, all of that. I think it's just masked differently.
But I still have an issue with how you are. I do believe it's masked differently. The issue here lies if we're in a monogamous relationship and you're unable to hold up your end of the bargain. How does that fall on the side of our male counterparts so easily? And I don't want to wash over that. Like, I do think it shows up for women in different ways. And it might be passive aggressive. It might be, hell, it might be cheating, right? For some people too. But I think that we are seeing these conversations happen with our male counterparts more and more. How, they need multiple women to be happy or whatever the case. Like, this is becoming such a conversation. I'm having this conversation with motherfuckers who work at like UPS. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm keeping it 100. Like, and we're not even talking about, like, you know what I mean? Because I believe you do well enough, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But some of you got flirt with the bitch at Dunkin' Donuts money. Some of y'all don't got the kind of money or got the kind of access or got the kind of resources where you could be having 4, 5, 6, 11 bitches. And that's just the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody can't be a king. Like, and that's just real. Everybody's not. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that when we have these, I'm saying that because it's odd to me that we could be having these conversations and it's the train conductor or, you know what I mean? We ain't talking about nobody who runs a Fortune 500 company or something like that.
I don't think that even matters, to be honest. I think these demons are not reserved for a certain people, and I think that they just need to be addressed.
I don't think
Jeff Bezos got divorced.
I don't think it's a
twice.
demon.
His wife got divorced twice.
Hear me when I say I don't think it's a demon. I think that these men are speaking about these things not at the truth of the matter is Clay literally said out his mouth, I don't think I could be with one woman. He said that, right? So that now moves the goalpost. It's not that you don't want to cheat. You want to be in a relationship with multiple women. The goalpost has moved. I didn't move it. He did. Because he's saying what he's looking for is something that's more multiple relationship. So when we speak to that, right, we do have to speak about resources, what kind of man you are, like what that looks like, and how you operate in the community and shit like that. Because you can't just be any old Joe Schmo asking for more. Like, that don't even make no goddamn sense. On no level. So now it moves that's why I said some part of this to me feels disingenuous. Because he literally said, I don't think I could be with just one woman. Just based on what, and then try to cover it. And y'all remember that they were sitting on the couch when they had this goddamn conversation. Then tried to cover it like, well, I ain't never seen my dad be with one woman at a time. Yeah, no. You're trying to lay a seed for me to be in a polygamous relationship.
I don't know. I think we getting.
He said it. I didn't say it.
He didn't ask her to be in a throuple.
He said he does not believe he could be in a relationship with
that's
just
fear to me.
One
that's
woman.
what I'm saying. A lot of people deal with a lot of this. They need to be talking to somebody. Clay needs his own therapist, his own counseling, and separate. And then they need to go through couples therapy and unroot.
I think anybody who requires the love of more than one person.
But I'm not
needs
going
to be. I believe that.
I'm saying that from a lot of just from the fear aspect alone of repeating your parents' mistakes, you need to uncover that.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Okay, so let's leave it. Let's park there and start, because that's the root of a lot of these things. And I think that once we go past that, we are making assumptions and throwing.
Well, we make assumptions with everybody. We're not going to make assumptions with Clay because he's a black man. That's not what we're going to do here.
I think he gets more assumptions because he's a black man. Because we've heard a lot of people say a lot of these things and still haven't been thrown the labels that he gets.
Like
and so
what?
I'm saying,
I didn't call him nothing bad.
not you, but I'm saying I'm talking about a lot of times when we talk, I'm responding to the comment space.
Yeah, because I don't think he an F boy or nothing.
But I heard
that.
But I heard that in week 1 of the show before he even said anything about that. I heard that.
Well,
so
I think they wanted him to be that way because he good looking and he tall and he
1,000%.
Hard.
This is
I think they
this is speaking to exactly what I'm saying.
I do think it's something
I'm just
like
saying that a lot of times, and I know from personal experience of navigating our way through statements that I took for a surface, and then I put my own explanation on it, and then I got in therapy, and after an hour and a half of talking about it, I saw it completely different. And so I'm saying that y'all need to do the work. Clay, AD, anybody else dealing with...
Because I think they could be successful.
Same
I'm
thing.
saying all these things.
Y'all being Clay and AD and anybody else that's dealing with the same demons, y'all need to do the work and uncover what's really behind that, because it's almost never the surface statement that you hear when they're filming or when they're out in the streets or at a bar or whatever like that. It's almost never that. Y'all dealing with something that's deeply, 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 deeply rooted that just really hasn't been uncovered.
But true. And I think that they could benefit from that.
They could.
Because I do think that they could do really well. I am saying all that to say, when I go hard on Clay, it's because I like Clay, actually really like Clay. I really like AD. And I go hard because I see it for them. I don't see it like, I'm not getting a warm and fuzzies or nothing like that, if I'm being for real. I see it like, if you do the work, you can make something shake.
That's what I'm saying. You got to do the work.
If you do the work, you can make something shake.
Because all of y'all are coming into this with your own baggage.
Right.
A lot of people come into this doing the same. They're no different. Doing the same things that they did when they were single. Doing the same schedule. Going to work. Going out here. Going out there. And then doing whatever they want to do. And it's just repeating the same cycle that they had when they were not engaged or with a partner.
Because I feel like the reason why I think the cheating thing is so weird to me, and this is because I if I'm being transparent, I was a cheater. So that's why I be thinking these conversations. But to your point, that's because I've done so much work. But a lot of times, that's why I be thinking these conversations is stupid as hell, because it really is just a decision. It ain't that hard.
And that's what I mean when I made the reference about Michael Jordan laughing at people who can't make a layup.
I just don't get it.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit, and then I don't think you would be that great a teacher. Because you literally be like, it's not that hard. Like
I'm not a teacher.
I'm like,
I'm a
Virgo.
Okay? I'm not a teacher.
Everybody
I'm a Virgo.
can't do what you do.
Y'all are not doing it right, but you know what? You're right. I actually see it for Clay. I see it for Clay heavy, and I see it for AD heavy. And I do want them to work it out. And I sound like her mama.
They just got to do the work. That's all. They have to do the work, because no one gets here without doing work. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle. Yeah. There are no shortcuts. No one gets here without doing the work, and you got to do the work. And at the crux of it, that's really what this is about to me.
Are we going to talk about Amy and Johnny? I really don't have nothing to say.
It's not much to talk about with Amy and Johnny. I think they are doomed. I'm being real. I think they bound to drizzle.
They're going to get married and go have babies.
I think because Amy has made it very clear, like, this is what it is.
And she's absolutely correct.
This is what it is. And Johnny has not left. So it's inevitable at this point. Like, unless you're leaving, this is inevitable. Like,
you're leaving.
If you're not leaving, they're going to continue to go forward through this process. Yeah. If they stay together, they're going to end up getting married. And Amy is going to get pregnant because Johnny breathed on her. And that's really going to be the story of their relationship. I hope that they figure it out at some point. But it doesn't seem like they are going to tackle this issue before the wedding day episode situation. So I think there's this kind of...
I would talk about the dresses, but it's nothing to talk about.
It really isn't nothing to talk about. The one thing I'm going to say about the dress the dress segment is, I don't like that they all had to do this together. I think as a bride, you deserve your own moment. You deserve your own time and your own day and your own spotlight. And I think to share it with four other women that you don't even know.
I agree. To get a dress that you ain't going to be able to get altered well anyway. How about that? Or nothing, like, who want to do that?
I think that's a little whack.
I think it's
They don't even know these women.
They could barely get their mamas in the room with the timeline.
How about that? Yeah, I just thought that was corny. Like, you're Netflix. Like, you gave them better
Yeah,
amenities
why
and everything
are they
else.
all at the same
I don't
apartment?
understand. They all got a townhouse and everything like that. Like we didn't need
That
to make them.
creepy ass neighborhood. Oh my god, that neighborhood is so creepy.
So-
Y'all. What's the name of the movie?
I was just about to say.
Is it called The Neighborhood?
No. It's definitely not called The Neighborhood. That's a show on CBS. Shout out to the Entertainer. It's very good.
Yeah, it is. It is sad. It is.
Black Love. But I don't know the name of the movie. But the movie that we're referring to was this side thriller where this couple had this house in this perfect neighborhood where every house looked the same. It looked very much so like the neighborhoods in Love Is Blind
Too
that they
much.
moved into. Too much. Everything was everybody's grass was cut to the same level, and so it was this thing where they would leave the house. It's good. I'm gonna find it and put it in here.
Oh my god! Don't tell them no more.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you no more, but it's a good movie. Watch it. But it's
they
creepy.
got in. How about that? They got in, and that's it.
Okay, I'm not.
I'm Intisar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Bye.